What a jazzy little intro that is. Hello, everybody. I'm very excited for this episode because this is our brand new watch series from the Ask the Accountant Network. The idea of this is it's a whole new dawn, a whole new day, and we're going to be talking about a brand new series about MTD. Now, we've got a traditional full-blown intro that I've got to go through that's all spoken of. Before we get into there, though, let's just explain what's going on here. Well, we are the Ask the Accountant Network, and we didn't want to just do Ask the Accountant on a weekly basis. We want to give you insights into stuff that's really important about you and your practice, and that's what this series is designed to do. It's the first one we've got in our program, and it's all about making tax digital. And I've got the best guests of the industry ready to talk about it. The main show itself, which goes live each and every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m., we just kind of go on the top level of it all, and we try and go and talk about and give you the news and everything else. This is all about going deep, and as deep as we can go in the world of the internet. We've got fancy new logos. We've got this amazing intro by Lizzie, which is very jazz centric, which I'm loving completely. So, without further ado, let's start the proper intro, the scripted one. Either this will be the first time we do it and we never do it again as this script, or this will be what you'll be listening to every single time. So, welcome to MTD Watch, your real-world guide to making tax digital, powered by the Ask the Accountant Network. This is the show where we cut through the noise and dive into MTD really means for your practice, from pricing and preparation to the tools that are helping making firms stay ahead. I'm your host, Aaron Patrick, aka the QuickBooks Chap, and joining me today are two of the sharpest minds in MTD strategy. First of all, on my left, right, I've never quite figured out, I'll just point, how's that? Is Amy Hancock, co-host of QuickBooks Labs podcast and hashtag audit. Amy, how are you and how you been?
Yeah, good, really busy. Summer holidays now, so trying to work, juggle everything, and yeah, all the changes coming in, trying to get my head around that. So great fun. Well, who needs sleep?
Loving that, and making her debut on the Ask the Accountant Network. They co-host Suzannah, an MICB bookkeeper. Always got to remember the M. The M is very important. An MTD specialist. Suzannah, how are you?
And good, thank you. Yeah, excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we're going to be making sure that we set you off on a very nice pilot episode where we're just gonna dive into yourself and get everyone the history of it. So in the series, we'll be unpacking the true cost of MTD readiness, exposing the common pitfalls, grilling the software vendors and what's working, and even dive into what's not. That's my favorite bit about this, when we're going to look in that deep dive into those softwares, what they can and can't do. We're broadcasting live across LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, and this episode will also be available on demand on all your favorite podcast platforms around the world. Be sure to follow and subscribe so don't miss a moment of the new series. And if you're watching live, drop your questions and curveballs in the chat. Let's keep it honest. So, is your firm ready for MTD ITSA? Let's find out. And already in the chat, we have Kirsty joining us. Hello, Kirsty. Thank you very much for coming along. And Dave's there as well. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of other people. We have a question coming in, but we'll leave it for the second at this moment. And we'll come back to that. Now, at the beginning of every single episode, we're going to look at feedback from the last episode that we did. Obviously, there's no feedback. This is the first one, but just so you know how to get your feedback in, use those comment sections that you can see down there. Talk to us, keep us honest, as we said before. Or if you listen to this back live, or not live, shall I say, and on demand, we promise to actually read the comment section. On the link tree that you'll find on every single post that we've got, you will see the opportunity to actually send us a question. And I promise you, I will read these questions this time. It turns out that the Ask the Accountant main show, there was a lot of questions that we were sent to that form that Lizzie's just put up there that we didn't actually answer. So I promise on this one, we'll always come back to him. So let us know, what did we say right or what did we say wrong? Any feedback you got from that last question, let us know in that comment section at the beginning of every single one. You got a chance to have your name written out and go from there. At the start of every show as well, we're going to go through some news. We're going to keep the news light, or we're not even going to cover the news this time, but normally we'll cover some news. So next week, just to preempt it and get your juices flowing, we're going to be talking about how Corporation MTD has been scrapped, and we're going to give you our opinions on that one. But this show is our pilot episode, and it can't be a pilot episode without telling you guys who we all are and what our experience in MTD is at the moment. So I'm going to hand it over to Amy, and Amy's going to tell us all who she is and what MTD has happened to her so far. Amy, this is your favorite segment of any show. Please Tell us who.
So, hi everyone, I'm Amy Hancock. I'm an accountant and auditor with the ITSA. I have my own practice in Dunstable, Bedfordshire called Hancock and Hastings Limited. About 7 employees now. It changes all the time as we have different members of staff and clients coming in and out. I mainly deal in the compliance space with all the small limited companies and sole traders, and obviously in the audit space, hence why I'm called #AuditAmy. When it comes to MTD, back when it was first going to happen, wasn't massively involved. I was in a practice where I just solely did audit and accounts. Now I'm a sole practitioner, got to get my head around it, got to get around what the requirements are, the software I'm going to use. So trying to get ahead of a game. I know exactly what clients are going to fall within each year, unless they change the years. I really hope they don't change the years again. So yes, I'm preparing. I'm going along this journey with everyone else as the software changes and the rules change. We're going to go through it all and go through it all together, basically, because I haven't decided fully exactly what I'm doing either. We're going to unpick everything and help everyone else whilst helping ourselves.
I love that. And you said about this is the first time you got to deal with it as a practice manager or practice owner, should I say. But what about last MTD, so MTD VAT? Were you involved with that at all in your old firm or anything?
So I was in a firm where we had a separate outsourcing department. So bookkeeping, VAT, payroll was done separately. So effectively, the bookkeepers were separate to the accountants. So although I had Hancock and Hastings as a side hustle and I delved with it a little bit, it was a lot of friends when I started my practice. So they were under the audit threshold, not the audit threshold, sorry, audit brain, VAT threshold.
That's why we call you #AuditAmy. Everything comes back to audit.
Guys. I'm just going to talk about audit the whole time and annoy everyone. So I didn't massively have to deal with it. And to be honest, I felt like there was I felt like there was a bit more preparation around it while I was watching it, and the software vendors kind of had it all together. So I didn't really, you're laughing. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
In fairness, it was smooth, but I wouldn't say it was 100%.
Yeah. I didn't have to deal with it, so but it now is just like I think with the news and things changing all the time and the software's changing all the time, my mind is blown. So I'm unpicking it. You guys are going to help me unpick it. Our audience is going to help me unpick it, and hopefully we can all together, united, come up with a plan that's going to work for us and our clients.
I love that. So safe to say this is your first major industry change that you've had since starting your firm?
For HMRC, yes.
Excellent.
I've obviously done my audit and company's house and all that jazz. FRS
Does audit really change?
Really? Threshold this year. Another watch series on audit. Yeah, we'll park that for now.
Suzannah, tell us your history. Why or how or what elements have you had to do with MTD so far? And just give us a background of your practice and everything else so that everyone knows where you're coming from on this watch series.
Okay. So I'm Suzannah Whelan. I own and run my practice, Sinclair Whelan Bookkeeping. I'm a sole practitioner. I'm qualified and licensed by the ICB. I've been in practice for 16 years now, so I have seen quite a few of those changes that you touched on, and I can talk about those and how I dealt with those. I provide a full range of accounting services for my clients. So I've got limited companies, sole traders and landlords. So I do self-assessments, and I have got quite a few clients who are going to be mandated in April 2026. I'd like to think I'm ahead of the game on this. I was putting things into place for the original deadline before it got postponed, and most of my clients are on at least monthly bookkeeping. As a bookkeeper, I think I come to it from a slightly different angle because I'm not I'm focused on the day-to-day quite a lot, rather than just looking at stuff at year end. Not that I'm suggesting that that's what anyone else does, but I think sometimes that has been the case, and where people are worried about MTD, it's perhaps because they haven't got those regular processes in place and don't know how to implement them.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, but did all this with MTD for VAT. We've had RTI as well, which was a big change. Yeah. But I think the big thing about MTD for income tax is the process is changing. With VAT, we were already doing the quarterly VAT returns. It was just doing them in a different way, filing them digitally through the software. But this is going from an annual return to the quarterly returns, and that is what I think is scaring people.
100%. So if I think back, what I would say is like the big changes. So you've already mentioned that you've got MTD VAT, you've got, I think RTI was just as scary, right? Like at the time. And then we had tagging of accounts and having to go through that whole process of we couldn't just submit accounts, we had to have them tagged at the same time and all this. If you're going to rank, and we'll call it blind ranking at this point, and because we don't know, right? MTD, it's not out there, but if you're going to rank how disruptive this is, where would you say MTD is? I'm going to go to you first, Amy.
Most disruptive.
I would say the most. I would say the most, and I think a lot of that is due to the ever-changing guidance and the fact that the software vendors, not at their fault, but are constantly changing as well, and we're not quite there with any of them as far as I'm aware, but obviously we're going to go through and see through the series. I feel like with the tagging of the accounts, I think the software vendors were quite, I mean, there's such a reliance on them to be honest now, but they were quite quick to read the guidance and get it in. I think with the guidance changing, that's the thing that's the most scary. I mean, yeah, it's going to impact me the most. Suzannah nailed it on that, like completely got it right in the sense of accountants and auditors are used to an annual cycle. We are. So going to a quarterly cycle, that is hitting us a lot because we're like, oh, there's that panic. Oh my God.
And it's hitting the clients because the clients aren't used to it.
No,
and then
there's those in their stuff at the end of
their own as well. I think, you know, we're looking at it obviously from our angle as accounting professionals, but from the business's perspective, there are a lot of businesses and landlords as well, don't forget landlords out there who have always done their own tax returns. And so it's not just the fact that they're going to have to file quarterly, it's the fact that they're going to have to do it via digital software. And for a lot of these people, they're just doing it, they're writing things down and maybe using a spreadsheet. And this is all completely new to them. And I think as well, there's been, unfortunately, so little communication on this and publicity from HMRC that there's going to be a lot of pressure on people. And I think that will not help the disruption because there's been, whilst we've been communicating with our clients for a long time, I'm now picking up a lot of new people who are coming to me in a panic and they've only just heard about it. So again, that's going to add to the disruption.
And I think the worst thing about this is that I think you're both right. It's the most, disruptive change we've had for quite some time. I wonder if the ACSP or what the algorithm is going to be. I wonder if that's going to be just as disruptive, but only time will tell. If we take away the RTI side of things, I think the worst part about MTD for it is that it's also on one of our service levels that has almost the least amount of meat on the bone when it comes to fees and services and how much we can charge our clients. You know, when it came to MTD for VAT, majority of people were already charging a fair value for it because it's quite, people, the clients see value in doing VAT returns for them. When it came for, putting the tagging on, they already saw value in us preparing the accounts in the first place and everything else. The hardest we've got in this one is trying to show the value to our clients, isn't it, of what we can add to it and why our fees are going to be whatever it is the case. How have you prepared for that before, Suzannah? Have you had to kind of raise prices when other changes have come, or is this the first time you've had to raise prices?
No. So what I've done is because with my kind of long-standing clients, I've approached this early, and therefore I've been able to gradually implement things and so it hasn't been one big price rise at one time, all at once. So I started by getting them onto software and getting them to pay the cost for that software. And then I started getting them onto more regular bookkeeping and explaining the value of that, how it was going to be keeping their books up to date, which would give them insights, and me being able to help spot things, spot potential issues or spot potential opportunities. But also just the fact that it's so much easier than, if they're keeping things up to date, taking a photo of receipts as and when, than trying to get things together and spend hours or a day or whatever trying to find all the receipts, download all the invoices at year end or after year end, and then they're finding it much easier. So that has helped me, convey that value, and then they're happy to sort of pay for that, and as well, you can explain that paying monthly, you can spread that self-assessment fee as well as charge for the bookkeeping at the same time, and then they're not getting a tax bill near the deadline that they're going to have to pay plus my bill on top. My bill is already covered. They're getting their tax bill in advance, having plenty of time to plan for it. So there is value there that we can talk about and that we can charge for. There are benefits. So that's what I've been doing.
You've got to tackle it early, because I know Chris is in the chat. Like, one of his most impactful, Chris down in that, is one of his most impactful slides I've seen really hit home with MTD has been his slide about where it comes to costings and fees, and the fact that most clients are kind of used to paying prior, after the event. So you filed an annual tax return, but then you've then got to try and retrain them not only to start paying monthly or quarterly for your quarterly returns, but also we've got to flip the script and they've got to start paying in advance for the next one. And suddenly it's gone from
that's the hardest part. That was the hardest part for me to implement. And I tried to time it so that I could get them onto the new monthly pricing at the start of the tax year so that there wasn't a catch-up fee as well. And so you explain that you're going along paying your monthly for the current tax year that we're already in. Okay, you haven't paid for last year's yet because we're doing that all in one go. So you are going to get a bill for that. But once that one's paid, you're not going to get a big bill from me again because you're paying it monthly. And I was worried about that part of it, but it actually, everyone just sort of understood it and went with the flow with it. And I didn't get really any pushback on it. So, their fee, when you look at the monthly fees, that has, if you times them by 12, it has increased. But again, you're selling that extra value that you're providing. And it does, I think it just felt less painful for the clients to be paying it monthly, even though it might be more overall. And then obviously once MTD does go live and they're mandated, there will be a filing charge that I will implement as well. But other than that, they're already paying for the bulk of it. I think where people are worrying is where they've not implemented it yet and they've realised, well, they've got to do it all in one hit. And that is, Amy, that's going to be more painful. You'll be fine.
No, I mean, I've spoken to you about this before in the sense of I am that accountant that has billed clients at the end of doing their tax returns, even where I've got those in the construction industry. I've got loads, so I'll be talking about that. I wait until people will shout at me for this. I wait until they get their rebate and then say, you can pay me at that point. I know, I've been stung this year, so that's changing. I have prepared to move people onto monthly, and I pre-warned them at the start of the year that I'm going to do a 6 months pre and a 6 months post. So as we go through this series and we start talking about pricing, I'll talk about how I explained that. I am struggling with some people when it comes to the value of the regular bookkeeping, and they resent why do I have to do this? What, no one's explained to me. You're telling me I have to do this. It's going to cost me more money. Like why? Yeah, we have
this
to
is
go
why
back
we need HMRC to be communicating, because at the moment I think clients sometimes think it's a money spinner for us and we're doing it to
Yeah.
make our lives easier and get more money. That isn't the case. It's actually so much work that we're having to do behind the scenes to get people ready. So much time we've spent on this, which isn't being billed for directly. We've just got to make it work because it's, or at all. We've just got to make it work because that is going to be the legislation. And we're, but it would be nice to have more publicity that isn't coming from us. Definitely. So that the clients are aware, especially given that I did all of this and was banging on about it for probably a year or so, and then it got cancelled, which made me look like a bit of a mug.
That's definitely one of the points we're gonna, or one of the episodes we're gonna come across is some of the learnings we should have, or not us, but HMRC should have from this. While we're on the subject of history and everything else, I'll just give my brief little background so people are aware of where I am in my MTD practice journey. I was really lucky when I started my firm. It was just as MTD VAT was just coming into play. So we saw that as a huge opportunity, huge chance, because we didn't have to convert from the old style to the new style. We were literally just bringing everyone on MTD and going through the joys of the agent services account, which I'm sure we've all seen and heard, and could have many a story. And maybe that's another series we can talk about. It's just the agent service account. So when it came to kind of preparing for MTD, we felt like we were in a really lucky position in that all of our clients are on software anyway. So the actual implementation and actually getting people to move over was never going to be the issue. It was, as Suzannah and Amy's already kind of talked about, it's more the mentality of the fee structure and how we're going to implement it. And the biggest thing we got is that capacity issue as well, like how we're going to deal with it. I personally went on the alpha, so not even the beta of MTD. And I'm happy to say that my role in that beta was to try and kick the tires and break it as much as I possibly can, because it was literally me that was submitting on behalf of myself and my sole trader income. I made stuff up. I'm not going to lie. I made losses in a particular period. I had capital elements, allowances to bring in on others, and I tried to break it as best as possible and learn a lot out of it, right? Learn a lot of what's going right, what's going wrong, and how to kind of come into it. And the whole point of this series is we want to kind of go into those deeper aspects of it. One of the stories I definitely want to talk to you about on a later episode is the problems I had at year end because I was breaking things, because I was being so reckless and trying to put these transactions in, because ultimately we're going to have clients that are going to do that sort of thing, right? We're going to have clients where we're trying to unpick what's going on and why did they make these and what is going on here, right? And that's where MTD really does ask a lot of questions of us and shows us a lot of skill sets, to be honest, that goes with it. When it comes to preparing for MTD, one tip that I'll give away straight away that I think was really, really useful for us is, I'm sure if you're not, you're probably looking at doing questionnaires for your tax returns going forward, right? So before you complete a client's tax return, if they can complete that questionnaire for you, you've got a fighting chance. We were able to implement on our questionnaire, our tax return questionnaire, a little section at the bottom which basically said, we believe your MTD status to be, and what date is come in and everything else. And we gave them the option to say, yes, I agree with that, or no, I don't. I think that's incorrect. Because we based all of that on our 2023-4 tax year, I believe it was. Yeah. So we just went through, updated all the ones that were related to it and sent that out. And that's been a really positive way of informing our clients, because MTD, it doesn't just affect the ones affected, right? Like they're going to be, every client out there is going to be hearing about this now. And to your point, Suzannah, about not enough information out there and everything else, but actually sometimes that's a blessing, because what we don't want is the ones that aren't affected to be panicking as well.
True.
So we made sure on that questionnaire that that if they weren't affected, that they even said to them, we don't believe you're going to be affected by MTD.
Yeah.
And the option to go from there, just to reinforce it. And because they were, our clients are so good at, filling in those questionnaires and completing them, we know then that every single one of our clients knows where they are, what stage it is, and we're all on the same hymn sheet. And I think that's really, really, really important. So if you haven't already, or if you've still got time to do it, use that questionnaire, use that tax return questionnaire.
Well, I did that as an email. I do my questionnaire anyway, but I copied what Johan suggested on Engager, that email series where you've already segmented your clients, you've identified who you think is going to be mandated when, and how ready they are at this stage and what they're going to need to do. And I did all those emails in April. All of my clients are aware of it anyway, because I do speak to my clients, most of them on a pretty regular basis, and they knew it was coming. They just needed the details. So yeah, I totally agree. I think letting the clients know when we think they're likely to be affected, and obviously now we're doing the 24,
if they're affected, right?
And if they're going to be affected, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I took a similar approach, but I rung because, again, I do a lot of those in the construction industry, and no matter how many emails I send out to them, they don't read them.
Problem, isn't it?
And a lot of mine don't have business bank accounts. Not that it's essential, but it's going to help the situation. So to talk to them first and be like, this is what's coming. The majority of them didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue what it was. When I've spoken to them at the start of the year, tried to get everyone to get business bank accounts by April. Hasn't worked with all of them, so we could have a year in the bank before going. I still have some that I'm working on, but yeah, I have found that HMRC communication, it hasn't even reached those. So that's where it's all coming from me, and I'm telling them this is coming in and you have to do it. And it's almost like you're on the back foot already, especially if they haven't been up like your client Suzannah. So getting in there. But I have had a few that have read the communication and gone, oh my God, when does this need to do? Quite often I go, well, I need to do your tax return for 24, 25 first. Let's see what you've got, and then let's go from there. But first of all, have you got a business bank account? And then I start with that. So I start the ball rolling from that point of view. But yeah, it does feel like we're the ones that are having to communicate everything to them, what the changes are. You are going to be in it or not going to be in it, because they're not being told. I know letters were supposed to come out, but I don't know if many of them.
Some of mine have had them, some haven't, or some can't remember if they have or not. So they've probably just stuck it in a pile and not done anything with it.
Plain devil's advocate, I don't know if you've got any that are affected by the ACSP Companies House changes and everything else that goes through from there. Companies House did it the opposite way around, where they just told everyone, right? I'm
now as well. Boom. And it's like I'm like, give me a chance to get MTD out of the way, and then we'll deal with that in the autumn. Okay.
And just cause an absolute rusk of fear, right? And then suddenly we've got to deal with that. So I'm not defending. It's never going to be a day I'm going to defend HMRC, but the only thing I could say is that at least they haven't gone too far on the communication and not just put fear factor everywhere. You're right, they're definitely not enough communication, 100%. But devil's advocate, at least they've not gone too far. Do we give them a slight
if all their ducks, if all HMRC's ducks are not in a row for it, what's the point? Because it might change again. So what is the point in letting people know?
Change again. Do not say that.
I mean, I do still hear it. I do still hear it from some accountants and bookkeepers. Well, some don't. This is why we're here, to educate our community. It's happening.
I like to think now it will go ahead. I think, they've spent a lot of money on it as well now. So,
I mean, what hedging your bets, Aaron? What percentage are you?
I'm 80% confident exactly 80%. How it's come through is exactly how it's going to be implemented. What about everyone else?
Go on, Suzannah. Go on.
I would have said 100%, but then that's probably pushing it. I think it will go ahead. I'd say 95%.
But my only reason I'm not 100 is because I believe that maybe we'll have some threshold changes or something. That's what I'm thinking could change, right? Like maybe we're going to have those thresholds change a little bit, and they'll be kind of.
Do you think they'll change for April 26th though? Do you think the 50k threshold?
Oh no, that 100% going ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I think there maybe changes. Yeah, that's what I meant. I think that is going ahead. I think 50 to 30k is quite a big drop. But don't forget, at the beginning, when it was originally on the cards, they were talking about everyone with turnover of 10k, which was literally
Everyone.
that was pretty much. So yeah, I think it will go ahead. I don't know, they could change the 30 and 20k perhaps, but I still think those are fairly likely.
Yeah, I think they're fair. But I'm 80% confident that exactly what they've said is what's going to come through. Chris down into 99%. What about you, Amy? What's yours?
I was going lower. I was going to go 75. Yeah, because I just feel, with July?
It's only 9 months away to April.
I know. And I'm still not, they're still not reaching all the accountants and bookkeepers. Hence why we're here. We're helping them out. But I just feel that, and it's so sudden. It's like April to June, July, go. And it just feels what time frame would be great? I mean, if you postponed it another year, there'd be a lot of people that would then leave and not do anything for a year. So no time. I'm a little bit more skeptical, especially with changes in government, potentially.
But this was all, the government has changed since this has been in legislation. So I don't think it's going to change. So this time next year,
we'll have it right or wrong.
We'll be right in it.
We'll be 30th of July. We'll be right in it, doing our first submissions.
Yeah,
and we'll be on here crying. No, joking.
I don't think we'll have time to be on here.
And that's a great segue to our next part of our topic, which is what we want out of this watch along series. And it's not just us, it's you guys who are chatting away in the chat box now and listen to us on demand and everything else. What do we want to get out of it? So the idea of this watch series that we've come up with the Ask the Accountant Network is we're going to deep dive into, and we've got some really good topics coming along. Just to tease you, our next topic, we're going to be talking about basically what is MTD. So we're going to get a little bit more geeky about what the thresholds that we're talking about, what that means and everything else. And we're going to go from there. But we need your help though. How long do you want these episodes to be? We were thinking half an hour, which we're already vastly going across and having to change. But we're thinking half an hour on a weekly basis, probably around this time each and every week. But we need your feedback to let us know. So let us know what you think. But you go, what do you want out of this series? What's your thing? Amy, is yours so that your practice does survive MTD?
So I can come up. My plan changes all the time, just like everyone else's. So I can get more aligned with the software that's going to best suit each of my clients. There's going to be different ones for different people, I know. So get an understanding of what's out there, what would be best for everyone, and also kind of help me with that, expressing the value of us doing these for our clients. Yes, our clients could do it themselves, might cause us more problems for year end. So a nice little discussion around that would be great. And then the pricing point. What is everyone else doing? Let's help each other out and come up with a unified approach for everyone to get on board with MTD.
Love that. And Suzannah, what do you want to get out of the series?
Well, similar to Amy, we're being billed as MTD experts, but I am learning. I want to learn from you guys.
Right? None of us have done this before.
Exactly. It's brand new. So, I want to learn from you guys in the audience. I want to get ideas of how to deal with certain situations. There's still things that I'm not sure about, and I don't think they've been set in stone yet. So things like rental income, jointly owned properties, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that by doing this, I'm going to have everything really, really clear in my head, and I'm going to know all the answers that I need to know, and I'm going to know how to implement everything. I'm going to know the software quirks. I'm going to know, how it's going to work within HMRC with the government with the agent services account and stuff, because I know a little bit, and I've signed up. I've signed up for the beta, but I'm still waiting for my software to allow me to actually do that. So I think learning as we go along and all helping each other out and getting ideas. And also, I think it's like Amy said, it's important to kind of unify everyone on charges and stuff, because you hear people saying that they're not going to charge anything extra, and I don't think that's helpful because it is a lot of extra work. At the same time, you hear people saying, oh my God, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, loads of extra costs. And I don't necessarily think that's the case either. So I think by doing this, you know, we all learn together, we all get ideas, and yeah, hopefully it helps everybody.
Yeah, and if there is extra cost, hopefully we all figure it out, right? And
Yeah.
maybe there's a cost we're missing, and we've been doing our templates and figuring it all out, and we're not being. So this series, we've already got some really good topics planned out. One of my favorite bits I'm really excited for is when we're each going to come along on a separate session, and we're going to bring our software of choice and try and convince each other and yourself why we're choosing that software. No guesses for which software I'm choosing, but you'll be really interested to see what everyone else has chosen as well. But we're going to try and do it as this is why this software works really well. This is what industry it works really well for. This is what to look out for. And these are the pitfalls as well. So hopefully you guys then can have that choice and be able to figure it out. But let us know what topics you want to bring up. We've got some special guests lined up as well. We've got a particular guest who not even involved in MTD and looking at us and going, why are you not even worried about it? This MTD sounds great. So that'll be a great little episode to get into. And as Suzannah said there, we're going to go into pricing. We're going to go into all sorts of different little geeky bits that we can really deep dive in and go from there. But we need your help. So let us know in the comments. Let us know using the option to send us some feedback over what you want to talk about, and we can make sure that we make that happen. We're not sure how long this series is going to last for, but we're calling it a series so that it just goes for a set amount of time. But we've already got plenty of topics to cover, so we're looking forward to bringing it in. At the end of every session, we're also going to go through Q&A as well, if there's any questions that we haven't covered as we go along. So Kirsty says, I have a question on QuickBooks looking at the first turn. So here we have Kirsty is actually filing through the beta as well, so gonna have to let us know. We're gonna have to bring on beta users onto an episode later down the line where we just grill the beta users of what they found and what they've done. But she says she has a question. Looking at the first return, seems to have been today's date, not to the 30th of the 6th or to the 5th of the 7th. So worrying. I did ask them, but not convinced. And then Chris has already answered. Says QB and Sage are reporting as required for future state with live tax estimates. Basically explaining how it's just imagined for very small sole trader raising an invoice mid-month provides live tax estimate, which makes our job so much more confusing, right? So. And this is going to be a topic that we're going to have to go into is how we're going to put our processes in place on how we're going to do this. When it's just a one-man band, you can probably get away with doing a little bit extra and everything else. But when you've got a team to look after, how far are you expected to do? What level of checks are you expecting your team to do? And if it's a moving target like this, that every time they log in, it's going to produce a different date, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to achieve that. So I get the premise of live dates, and it's always going to be as close as live as possible, just in case someone like Chris says has just put a big invoice in and they want a more realistic estimate. But from a accountant's point of view and what we're used to, which is those ticks, and as an audit Amy, like hashtag audit Amy, you must be crying at this point that your flag's moving across. So what's everyone's thoughts on that?
I just don't know where I'm going to be at, because you'll be telling a client something and then the next day it's different, and then it's just
and it's not going to take into account capital allowances and stuff like that, presumably. I think we just have to say, look, it is a guideline at the moment. They don't know. They probably don't know from 1 month to the next, have a clue what their tax bill is going to be. So it's a guide, and it will go up and down. It is a rough guide. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it possibly will be confusing.
Yeah. I mean, what do you ask your client? Do you say, can you send your bank statement as of today's date? And then if they don't send it today, you ask them to send it today, and then you ask it again. And where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? Like, at least with VAT, it's up to a certain date. That's the bank, all the details we need, and we move on. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Just do that. And Chris has answered, I think it will be different in live, and the submission will be per the quarter.
Okay.
But that's why the betas are there, right? Like, they're testing things out. We're just going to have to work with this. And as Chris Sanders says, or switch off the visibility of the tax estimate and software. Solved. Yeah. So
that'd be a good idea if we can do that for clients, perhaps. Certainly at the beginning, until we're confident we know what it's spitting out is going to be close to the reality.
Yeah.
You know.
And then when you've got people like Amy that pretend kind of jumping the gun here, ruining what she's thinking about, where she might not be using software to submit, she might be using a third party to do the submission. So how's that going to keep up to date with the estimates? And yeah, we're going to have a whole array of questions coming our way.
People doing it themselves. Oh my days. It's just going to be, okay, another episode, deep dive.
Do you think people are going to do it themselves? Do you think people with no experience are going to buy a piece of, well, depends, I suppose. The adverts are telling them it's just a click of a button and it's easy.
Don't they fly? Don't you get it done while you're doing your gym sessions? Just fly off afterwards. Yeah. You never seen that happen?
Yeah. No, there will be people doing it themselves and then want me to do the year end. So
it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Okay, so this is our MTD Watch series. Thank you so much for joining our pilot episode. Hopefully you understand who we are, why we are, and where we're coming from to make everything, all the other episodes, make sense going forward. Thank you for everyone who's chatting in the thing. Any last questions or points you want to make? Amy, do you want to go first? Or plug? Go on, plug yourself.
So at the moment, I am on this RC Accountant Watch series, QuickBooks Labs, coming tomorrow. And also I am half of Being Counted to Boss podcast, which will be coming very, very soon. I know I've been saying this for a while, but it's on its way. It's on its way.
It's like Christmas. We've been waiting for so long. Susanna, any last points? Any plugs you want to make? Go for it.
No, just if people have got questions or ideas, please do send them through. And we'll try and cover as much as possible, because it's, like I said, it's giving us ideas and prompting us and making us think as well. And there might be scenarios that, you know, we haven't thought of yet that we need to sort of get our heads around. So, yeah.
100%. And we've got space for guests to come on as well. So don't just give us your ideas, but be prepared to get yourself on the show, because this is about all of us, right? Like we keep on saying, we're all figuring this out. There is no experts out there. No one knows what's going on. It's not happened yet. So get yourself on there. And thanks to Dave. Thank you very much for sharing all inside. Good selection from Free Accounting. Loving that. Thank you so much, Dave. And definitely a guest that we'll look to bring on at some point coming forward. All right, well, thank you very much. We're over time, but hey, that was to be expected, right? Well, give us the feedback.
Yeah,
do we have to be strict half an hour or whatever? Let us know going forward. So it is a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Bye.
I always say that because it takes me so long to find the outro and press it on speed. Bye.